Welcome to the Holistic High Achiever podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlin. This podcast is all about thriving in the modern world without sacrificing your health. It's for all my fellow high achievers, business owners, mompreneurs, single parents, hustlers, and for the people who just do so much for everyone else, sometimes at a detriment to their own health. The people who want to do it all, but need to find a better way without burning themselves out or continuing to put their health on the back burner. Yes, we'll talk about health, nutrition, and movement and easy solutions to living healthier, but we'll also cover topics like goal setting, building habits, and overcoming challenges and limiting beliefs, which can be applied to any area, including health, so that you can thrive holistically. I am so excited to bring you today's episode on curbing sugar cravings because it's something I personally used to struggle with a lot, and the majority of my clients struggle with at some point. So my hope is that the majority of listeners get some incredible value from the episode with just a few good tips on what to start implementing right away. First, I like to start out by saying I'm not anti-sugar. So before you turn the episode off, like I'm not giving my donuts up, just listen, I eat sugar. Some of my favorite sweets are cinnamon rolls and Rice Krispie treats. Literally right before recording this episode, I was talking about how I love pie. So I am with you. Also, side note on Rice Krispie treats, I will only eat homemade ones. Those things that come in a blue wrapper are just garbage. PSA. I eat what I want when I want. I don't deprive myself. But I also don't get sugar cravings like I used to, or when I did when I was pregnant, like it's an addiction and you just can't stop thinking about it until you have it, you know? Now I just indulge myself guilt-free when I want. And I have to share this because it's actually super cute, because the first time my son ever had cake was at his birthday party. And then following that, all of his friends' birthday parties. So now anytime we have a cupcake or anything that like resembles it, even a donut or a cinnamon roll something, he just starts singing, "Happy birthday to Uncle Sean." So sugar can have special places in our lives. I don't believe in restriction or deprivation. However, I do have some strategies that are going to help you avoid overindulging, so that when you do have sweet treats, it's a conscious choice rather than a lack of willpower. In turn, you can stay on course with your health goals is kind of the ultimate goal here. So today I just want to share a few strategies with you. The more sugar you eat, the more you're going to crave it. So the theme of all the strategies I'm going to share with you is that they focus on what to do, not what not to do. When we think about what we're trying to avoid or what we're trying to eliminate, by default, you're actually bringing even more attention to it, which is the entire reason why willpower doesn't work. Because if you keep saying, "Oh, don't eat the donut Lindsay brought into the break room. Don't eat the donut. Don't eat the donuts." What are you thinking about? Donuts. So it's so much harder not to have them when you can't stop thinking about them. Also, fuck you, Lindsay, for bringing donuts. It's just like if you tell yourself, like, don't think about a picture of an elephant. Did you just picture an elephant? Or if I say, okay, think about any color except the color blue. Did you think of blue? You might have been like, no, not blue, pink, red, purple, but you thought about blue. So the goal for today is to get you thinking about other colors, to put the direct focus on something other than blue. In other words, sugar. And these other colors, these other tips, don't just take the focus off to make it easier initially, but they help wash out blue completely so that you can eliminate sugar cravings in the first place. Because let's be completely honest, it is a lot easier to eat sugar, to not eat sugar, if you don't crave it in the first place. So let's dive right into some of the strategies. Number one is to check your beverages. It sounds crazy, but sometimes sweet cravings are just a sign of dehydration. So if you pound a glass of water, set a timer, tell Siri to set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes, see if you still have the craving after that. This is like the magic trick that works for so many people. Also, many drinks, even if they're marketed as healthy, actually sometimes, especially the ones that are marketed as healthy, unfortunately, like electrolyte drinks and things, are just filled with sugar. They're basically liquid candy bars. So really pay attention to what you're drinking. And you know, it's not like you can't have those things, like I said, but being conscious of what is actually in them and what you're consuming. Try defaulting to making sure you get a foundation of having enough water first. So many things are dependent on person, but the one I like to follow, at least to give you like a rough starting point if you just have no idea where to start, take your body weight and divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you should probably be getting per day. Of course, it fluctuates depending on, you know, how much you're exercising, how hot it is, how much you're sweating, blah, blah, blah. Start with that and then go from there. So tip number 2 is to satisfy your sweet tooth with sweet veggies and fruits and spices. Your tongue has sweet taste buds, and they want to taste sweet things. They want to be satisfied. So don't have to hold out on them. You can add naturally sweet foods and spices to your diet. Things like sweet potatoes and squash and carrots and beets and berries and figs and apples and cinnamon and nutmeg and cloves. Like, the list goes on and on. Just sometimes getting creative there. And it's not, again, with the theme of last episode, you don't need 57 good ideas. Sometimes you just need 1 or 2 ones that work. So think about what you like that's a more naturally occurring food. I personally, I'll throw out one of my favorite ones because it's super easy, is cooking a sweet potato and just eating it with a little bit of cinnamon and some coconut oil. It's sweet, it's delicious, it has a lot of fiber, it's so good for you, filled with nutrients, and it curbs those sweet cravings. Tip number 3, sleep. I talked about the importance of this in one of the very first episodes. The hard part is, for many of us, it's easier said than done. But if you're constantly tired, your body looks for energy, usually in the form of sugar or caffeine. Because if your body's constant, those are the things that, if you've ever attended one of my How to Kick the Sugar Habit workshops, which I'll be hosting one, I'll talk about in a little bit, I think November 7th, but that's how our bodies work. Sugar is the thing that gives us the quickest energy, not the longest lasting, but when your body is so exhausted, you're gonna crave it more. Your body is gonna send you craving to signal you to eat something sugary because it's gonna give the body some quick energy. It's not a long-term solution because what you really need is sleep. So power down an hour earlier than usual. We talked about that in the sleep episode. If you can't do an hour, do 5 minutes, do 10 minutes, whatever. But sometimes getting better sleep is all you need to completely make your sugar cravings disappear. Okay, tip number 4 is to check your protein. This is a fun, kind of cool fact, but watching how much protein, as well as what kind of protein you're getting, especially when it's involving animal protein, can make a difference, because eating too little protein can lead to massive sweet cravings. Also, eating too much protein can lead to sweet cravings. And when I work with clients, we find just the right spot for protein intake so that they feel satisfied. I think every single health coaching client I've ever worked with, one of the things we do in the very beginning is looking at starting their day with protein, because then you're setting yourself up for a foundation of eliminating cravings for the whole day. Whereas if you start your day with chocolate cake, you're going to have a harder time because it's going to put you on this cycle of then craving more sugar. So getting in enough protein, period, but especially if you can start the day with protein. Okay, tip number 5, be leery of low-fat and fat-free foods. So when manufacturers take the fat out of foods, what do you think they put in it? Sugar. Because if it didn't have sugar, it would taste like garbage. Because also fatty foods can taste good, and fat isn't the worst thing in the world for you either. Our brains need fat to survive. It's just the types of fat we're getting, which would be an entirely different episode. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but read a nutrition label. Like, low-fat foods are often not the healthiest choice. Many, many times you'd be better off just eating the full-fat version, because it's going to sustain you longer, fulfill you longer, and eliminate those sugar cravings. And I know I'm just giving like surface level, because this is whatever tip is resonating with you. Again, just start with that. These aren't meant to do every single one, but these are things that can help. So Tip number 6 is to move yourself. Movement is just another kind of fuel for your body. It releases stress and it makes you feel great. It makes you look great. And when you don't get enough, the body starts to look for other ways to blow off steam, like binging on Snickers bars. So find a way to move your body that you like. I'm not telling you to go to the gym and punish yourself with torturous exercise that you hate or run until you break bones in your feet. Just find some way to move your body that feels good and do it. The last one, tip number 7, is to create a new post-meal ritual. How many of you feel like you have to have a sweet treat after every single meal? If you're that type of person, just like dessert after meal, one of the things you might actually like about it is simply the ritual. Simply, it's a habit. That's just what you do. After dinner, we have dessert. After dinner, the server comes, asks if we want dessert. It just has become something that you do. So even if you're not necessarily wanting it, you have it anyways. So change that habit. I'm not saying sometimes if you're out for a fancy meal and the server asks you, do you want tiramisu, that you have to say no, but eliminate making it an everyday thing. What are some other possibilities for post-meal rituals that you could do? Maybe it's taking a short walk or some light stretching, something that just takes the focus off of it. Because again, the more sugar you eat, the more you're going to continue craving it. If you don't leave the episode with anything else, leave with that. However, if you want to understand a little bit more that I've kind of hinted to about like why we have sugar cravings in the first place and how it's absorbed into the body, and just more information on how to break free from like needing to rely on willpower alone. I am hosting a virtual How to Kick the Sugar Habit event on November 7th. We'll link it in the show notes. It's free. You just have to register on Eventbrite. I promise you though, with this is one of the most valuable talks I give that my clients have appreciated, because it just gives you not just the how, but the what to do about it. So you're going to get incredible value from this event, and I promise to walk away with at least one major aha moment about how to break out of the rut and get into action. See you then. Thank you so much for being here with me on Holistic High Achiever. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and ready to take on the world one healthy step at a time. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps so much. And if you're anything like me, you probably thought of someone else who would likely resonate with this as you were listening, so don't forget to share it with them, because who can't use a little extra motivation? Until next time, keep embracing your journey and kicking ass.